Welcome to a very special Bastards breaking news edition of the Red Sox hiring a new president of baseball ops. We're going to be talking about that on this show, along with our opinions and what we think the future is going to hold with things, and if we like the deal or if we don't. I first want to welcome in Terry. Terry, how are you doing this evening? And then without further ado, the name is Craig Breslow, former World Series champion with the Red Sox from 2013, is coming back home.
If you would have told me on September 6th, that was the day Hein Bloom was fired, that he would be replaced by Craig Breslow, I'd been like, you're high on something.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's kind of a surprising hire. I mean, it seemed to generate momentum over the last 4 or 5 days. And it's high risk. It's a very big risk. There's a lot of unknowns. He's never signed a player to a deal. He's never executed a trade as not only the number one executive in the front office, but a number two. So all of that's going to be foreign to him, but he does address the most glaring weakness of the Hein Bloom era, and that's who to target for pitching, how to develop in pitching. Justin Steele, the primary example of that, and he even fixed a guy named Kyle Hendricks. So at least that's been addressed.
Pitching has been the Red Sox Achilles heel for years. For years. It's something that they have struck out on with development. They have struck out on for free agents, and they have not had anything that can legitimately build upon. Brian Bayo a little bit in flashes of stuff, but I even think him, Terry, he's got a lot of work to do. And I think Breslow coming in here gives the organization a breath of fresh air, a new perspective, and somebody who knows and relates to the players, the fan base, and even management from side of things. A guy that's been in Boston, who's proven it, who's done it. I look at this signing, Terry, in a way, and I look at this as a massive PR win for the Red Sox, who have really faced some bad battles in the past couple years. And we've all said it for at least all the Bastards hosts. We're all willing to give this a chance. And I am likewise. I feel like this is an opportunity that I'm willing to take so long as he has the right pieces of the puzzle together with him, which means some senior VP or some senior members of leadership that can help him to bring in the right infrastructure, make the right trades, make the right free agent signings, and build something that Bloom royally failed upon.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the most glaring problem of the Bloom era was he just had a fundamental misunderstanding on how to build a rotation. We got a lot of trash signings, and I think Bloom was hoping to, kind of revitalize them, and that didn't happen. So from here, I mean, a few things I'm curious about. He's probably going to hire his own number two, who will
Mhm.
probably be the GM. It looks like Breslow's title will be either chief baseball officer or president of baseball ops, but he
Yep.
will be the top executive. We do know that already. So who's the number two going to be? You need a pitching coach. I'm
Yep.
hoping there's probably going to be some other pitching analytic type people brought in. Whether that's an assistant pitching coach. Jason Varitek's current title is the game planning coordinator. So he maps out how they're going to attack the opposing hitters. So it'll be interesting to see if he keeps that job or not. I'm kind of hoping not, as much as I love Jason Varitek. He interviewed with the Giants, by the way, but Bob Melvin was hired instead. So we'll see if he gets any other opportunities. But getting back to Breslow, who's he going to bring in, and what's the mindset? The one thing I'm hoping does not happen here is I don't want to get analytic heavy. And a couple examples of that, Brandon Pfaadt. Look at this Diamondbacks team. Brandon Pfaadt in a previous start was only going to face 18 batters no matter what. Merrill Kelly, I think he pitched last night, was cruising lights out through 5 innings. They took him out of the game. That's not what I want to be, and I don't think Red Sox fans would ever tolerate that.
I think that we've already been screaming off the top of the mountain cliffs that this is not what we want. And I think management knows that from the fan base, whether they want to listen to the fan base or not. I mean, Bloom coming in and doing this opener nonsense is something that, at least for me as a Red Sox fan, I'm not going to tolerate. We're a big market club. We're not going to be the Tampa Rays. What baseball club has won a World Series by having these stupid openers go two innings, 3 innings? It doesn't work. You need to go out and get a solid, legitimate starting pitcher that is going to give you 6-7 innings each time out, that is durable, that is dependable, and is going to get the job done. Now, you also said, Terry, some big names that you were discussing there, including the Jason Varitek news. So, no, he's not going to be with the Giants, as you said. Bob Melvin's going cross the bridge, cross the Golden Gate to the Giants. I think Varitek is probably going to get some sort of a increase, raise of sorts, different role of anything. If he is staying here with the Sox, what that's going to be, I don't know. I am going to put a name into the hat right now for a pitching coach, and that is Craig Breslow's former teammate and friend. That's Andrew Bailey, who was the pitching coach with the Giants. I don't know if I love that or not, because that's an analytic heavy team, and we already know the whole scope of what happened with Gabe Kapler on that, but at least that's a name that we can put into the ring, at least on what's coming there. I, in a way, hope it would be some former Red Sox World Series great of sorts that could step into that pitching coach role, mentor role, and somebody that's more familiar with the fan base and the team. But that's to be determined on what Breslow's going to do. The other thing I wanted to ask you too, Terry, is with Breslow now being in charge, what does this mean with Alex Cora here? Is Alex Cora still higher up the food chain here with John Henry and crew than Breslow? Because that's a very interesting dynamic I think we got to talk about as well.
It's interesting. I was going to mention this on the regular show, which for everyone listening, we'll have probably a 45-minute show on that. And then Nick will be with us tomorrow. Who knows when the press conference will be? I hope it's tomorrow, but
That'll be cool.
Oh shit, what was the question again?
With Alex Cora, now that we have Breslow here, this whole like food chain here with Cora calling the shots and being safe and everything like that, and Breslow now being in charge of overseeing, baseball ops. What's the dynamic of that going to be? That's going to be funny.
So interestingly, Sam Kennedy said that Alex Cora would be a part of the process in terms of, who they bring in, giving input, maybe even participating in the interviews. And we saw a report maybe 3 or 4 days ago that Cora had little to no involvement in the process. And I wonder if it's because of the widespread rejection they got. If maybe they said, oh, okay, wait a minute, we can't have him in the room. It's almost like, going to your Christmas gathering and you got your new girlfriend and your old girlfriend's there because she's close to the family. It's almost like that. Like, you don't want the polarizing guy in the room that nobody.
You don't want her dangling off the Christmas tree.
Yeah. So it's interesting, and I just wonder if Breslow already has a metaphorical gun to his head that, you're going to have to give him an extension at some point, Alex Cora an extension. I mean, I don't know. I really want him to have his own guy, and I hope Cora has very little influence. I just want a traditional front office with, forward, thinking as far as how they build the roster.
The other thing to think about too was we've talked about Eddie Romero, who was Chaim Bloom's GM, one of the GMs and everything. Interesting to see where he ends up being, because does Breslow keep him, or is Eddie Romero probably out? I don't know.
Well, I mean, Romero's current role is to handle the international signings and scouting, down in the Dominican and, I think as far even as Venezuela. And possibly even Japan. And, so that's what he's focused on. I mean, he's responsible for bringing in Bayo, Bogarts, Devers, and hopefully that's where he stays. But perhaps he could be the number two under Breslow. I'm hoping not, because I we want as many fresh voices as possible.
As this whole soap opera played out, I mean, we were all going back and forth on who's it going to be with all these rejections incoming. And I was just like, guys, just to be fully transparent with you, I'm not going to be surprised if if it does happen to be Eddie Romero in that role. So we kept going back and forth on what this Breslow thing was going to be. Would he advance to get to the chief baseball ops position? And here we are today with now him taking on this role, and we have a new direction in future of where the Boston Red Sox are going to head. So definitely there's a little bit of that excitement and that anticipation now with a new leader in charge.
Yeah, absolutely, and excited to see what this new era brings.
We shall see what happens. Stay tuned for that press conference coming soon. We hope everybody stays informed with all the news that's happening, and we'll be with you to also talk about the World Series upcoming too after this Game 7. So have a great rest of your night, all. We'll see you soon.